welcome to ILTV's Evening Update. I'm Aaron Porras here with the latest news from Israel.
An incident near the Israeli city of Lod last week in which a Jewish woman was victim to supposed attempted carjacking has today been reclassified as a terror attack by the Shin Bet security services. According to the Shin Bet, the Palestinian suspect identified as Malek Bassem Ishmael Saada was arrested this morning. The alleged terror attack was yesterday and the woman attacked suffered minor injuries. Saada, 19, supposedly carried out the attack, quote, because he was tired of his life and was hoping for police-assisted suicide. Saada allegedly entered a parking garage in Lod last night around 8:30 with a knife in hand. He identified the victim as a Jewish woman by her head covering and stabbed her in the upper body. As reported to the daily news source Israel Hayom, Saada stole the knife from the Israeli bakery he illegally works in, and he was caught on his way back home to the West Bank town of Khalkhul. The Shin Bet said, quote, "This is another case of a Palestinian deciding to carry out a terror attack as a solution to his personal problems." Following a harrowing chemical gas attack in Syria in which nearly 60 people were killed and over 200 injured, mainly children, the Israeli leadership is now calling on the international community to mobilize. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu charged that world powers should work together to completely remove Syria's chemical weapons stockpiles, as they promised they would back in 2013. Speaking at a memorial service earlier today, he said, quote, "When I saw pictures of babies suffocating from a chemical attack in Syria, I was shocked and outraged. There's no excuse whatsoever for the deliberate attacks on civilians and on children, especially with cruel and outlawed chemical weapons," end quote. "The shocking pictures from Idlib need to shake every human being," he continued. Education Minister Naftali Bennett and former military intelligence chief Amos Yadlin also condemned the attack, but said it should be Israel that steps in. Bennett stated that the use of chemical weapons against civilians requires Israel's security cabinet to rethink its stance. Yadlin, taking his frustrations to Twitter, wrote that it's time for Assad to pay for his war crimes, continuing by lamenting another chemical attack and the world stays silent. Jibril Rahoub, convicted terrorist and current Palestinian football chief, has again renewed his call to FIFA to exclude Israeli teams from competition due to their West Bank settlement games. Rahoub brings up two complaints that have long been at the core of his supposed issue. One, that supposed Israeli security restrictions are limiting Palestinian players' movements and inhibiting their freedom of movement and that of visiting teams. The second issue is simply that the 6 Israeli teams in question are either based in or operate out of Israeli villages in the West Bank, something Rahoub claims violates international law. FIFA created a commission in 2015 responsible for trying to solve the dispute, but the Palestinian football head said none of the compromises offered by FIFA were good enough. Rahoub said that he, quote, "preferred that we go right way to sanction and suspension of the Israeli Football Federation," just after declaring his actions as realistic. Rahoub is now threatening to take the issue to an international court should FIFA fail to act satisfactorily. Late last year, FIFA President Infantino urged the Palestinian and Israeli teams to figure something out and leave politics aside for football's sake. Neo-Nazi threats in northern Sweden have forced a Jewish community association to close just 7 years after opening. Today, members of the Swedish Jewish community are calling upon Swedish officials to do their part and step up security for Sweden's Jewish citizens. The community center in question is located in the town of Umeå and has been repeatedly vandalized with swastikas and threatening messages such as, quote, "We know where you live." Local community members have said that authorities have been unable to provide adequate security until now. According to the Jewish Association spokeswoman Corinne Sjöberg, many people are too afraid to come to the community center in the first place. Speaking with Swedish National Public Television, Sjöberg said, quote, "Too many things have happened lately which mean that Jewish parents don't feel safe having their kids at school. Our children shouldn't need to live in a world where they have to be ashamed for what they are. But it's not possible to operate if people are scared," she continued. Despite the threats, Sjöberg said the community would work diligently to make sure that they have a safe meeting place in a more central part of Umeå that will be easier to protect. The neo-Nazi group Nordfront is believed to be behind the anti-Semitic campaign. Put away your old dusty prayer books this year as the unofficial Hogwarts Haggadah has arrived. Authored by teacher and Rabbi Moshe Rosenberg, the self-published 148-page book has already become a bestseller ahead of this year's Passover holidays. It's already sold 10,000 copies on Amazon alone. Speaking to the Times of Israel, Rosenberg said, quote, "The actual writing began about a year ago and concluded around February 2017, end quote. Inside the holiday text, readers will be delighted to find that the Harry Potter and Hogwarts theme is infused deeply within the entire Passover story, even going so far as to add a verse about Harry's troubles in the song Haggadah and exchanging the 4 children and their questions with the 4 Hogwarts houses. Rosenberg says that, while they are not and need not be exactly correlated, these categories of students agree on a major principle of education. Each student is an individual endowed with unique character traits, aptitudes, and passions." End quote. So now if you want your unofficial Hogwarts Haggadah to make this year's Passover a little bit more magical, then worry not, as the book has sustained itself at the top of 3 different Amazon bestseller lists and can be purchased for just between $16 and $22, depending on the retailer.
That's all for now. Stay tuned on ILTV.tv for our main daily broadcast playing after this. I'm Aaron Porras, and see you next time with our morning briefing from Israel at 8 a.m. Eastern Time.